This was probably what was done 2,000 years ago, a special ceremony of our people. Different gifts were thrown into one of the lakes of Belj, which was thought to harbor one of the Illyrian mythological figures. It is now many centuries since these beautiful rituals have disappeared, but the lake has preserved some of their traces. This is one of the many lakes of Dhimiter, which are the karstic origin. Not too far off, like a vessel battered by weather, rise the ruins of the Illyrian town of Belj. These cavities, opened by archaeologists in 1974, revealed that the life of this town first dates back to the Bronze Age, 3,500 years ago. The many objects unearthed in its graves testify to the fact that this town was one of the principal centers of the Illyrian tribe of the Arsingers. The embellishment of bronze arms and vessels, the beautiful shapes of the clay vessels, testify to a developed local craftsmanship of a fine artistic taste. Several objects originate from Apollonia and Durrës. In the museum there is also a work in stone depicting a woman of Belj. But it had not occurred to the archaeologists that one important aspect of this habitat was not to be found on the land, but beneath the waters of the nearest lake. And, as frequently occurs in archaeological research, this discovery was made quite by accident. The drought of 1983 caused a several-meter drop in the level of the waters of this lake. The children of the village of Sefere found embedded in the mud on the bottom of the lake strange objects belonging to ancient times, vessels and figurines worked in baked clay. The archaeologists were informed and underwater research was organized. The aim of this expedition was to find out at what depth and what extension these objects had in layout. On the basis of the discoveries made, an explanation had to be found as to what links these objects discovered in the lake had. The underwater research revealed that the objects lay about 4 to 5 meters away from the bank, only along the eastern side of the lake, that is, on the side of the township of Belj. Apart from the terracottas, the bones of animals were also found at the bottom of the lake. It was obvious that they had all been thrown into the water from the shore. Perhaps they were remnants of some kind of workshop in the proximity of the lake. But why were there no pieces of tile or brick? Why were there only figures and clay bowls, which served as containers of perfume and creams or wine vessels? It became clear that all these articles were some sort of gift to the goddess of beauty, Aphrodite. For a long period of time, the local inhabitants had thrown these terracotta into the lake's waters as a dedication to her beauty. These are pots for perfume to take care of her beauty and vessels for food. But this Illyrian goddess differed from the Greek Aphrodites, who, even though she was born from the foam of the waves, never returned to the water. Instead of the idealized features of the Greek goddess, the picture of a robust Illyrian woman with big eyes, straight forehead and slightly inclined nose emerges. The Greek dress has been replaced by typical Illyrian dress, which has also been come across in other sculptures and relics discovered in Belge, and which today are preserved through to this day in the folk costumes of Dhimiter. All this reveals that spot was a natural Illyrian altar. These objects unfurl before us an ancient but very interesting cult inherited from the Pelasgian cults of the eulogy of nature, something similar to that of Lys of Dodona. Now, 2,000 years later, we have no way of being certain how this ritual was performed in the lake of Belge. Perhaps the poignant beauty of the lake in the evening twilight attracted the locals to its tree-lined shores. Perhaps the young maidens would come here to draw water and linger there fascinated by the white lilies, the reflection of the moon, and the trout which sometimes made this perfect image vibrate. Perhaps all this beauty could not be expressed otherwise, apart from in the form of the most beautiful maiden of the region, who for a long time had been in the minds of the inhabitants of Belge, and now had to live there in the water, like a nymph. And perhaps they believed that she needed food and other gifts. In short, all these scenes which are created have a similarity. But one thing is exact. This ritual was once observed on the shores of this lake, and it was here that it became extinct. Whereas the lake remains just the same as in the past, safeguarding the evidence of ancient times and of the new times of our people.